let's talk about holidays in prison, because they were probably the most profoundly lonely and darkest time. Like, you look around on Christmas and everybody's just feeling depressed. Like, everybody's away from their family, away from their kids, like not doing the things that they want to do, and depression sets in. You have more overdoses, you have more suicides. Like, it's a really dark time. But at the same time, the camaraderie and the kind of unity that isn't always there really comes out in those dark times. And people would come together and make meals. That was one of the biggest, easiest ways to celebrate. So Christmas and Thanksgiving and the Eid feast, you would get better food in the chow hall than any other time of year. And so people would just go over there and smash it and just be happy to have that food. But a lot of times people would turn it into a communal event. And everybody would go over there, and if they gave us chicken, which was rare, we would take all the chicken off the bone, and then we would bring it back and we would make chicken burritos or chicken nachos or something that was really special that we didn't get any other time of the year. And we would sit down and eat it together. Because ultimately at the holidays, I think we're all looking for a sense of community, right? Like, we want to sit down with our family or at a religious service or with a group of friends. Like, we want to feel together, and that's what we tried to recreate on the inside. And you had different examples, like everybody wanted to be on the phone or get a visit. Like, I never told my family to come on Christmas because they might have to wait 1 or 2 or 3 hours to get in, and then they only get an hour visit and then they have to leave. And it's like, look, I'm not trying to put you through that. Like, I'll see you another weekend. Enjoy your Christmas. I want you to be good. Because the day is special, but it's not special if, like, you have to suffer just to come see me. Like, it's harder on you just to come see me. That just didn't feel good. But I would always get on the phone, and I probably saw a fight over the phone every day of the year except for Christmas. And you had more people wanting to use them on Christmas because more people wanted it again. But there was, again, that kind of sense of camaraderie or unity, whereas, like, normally the petty things or guys be running down on each other. Like, there was a greater sense of, hey, man, we're in this together. Like, it's a Christmas and it sucks for everybody, so let me get the way so you can get on the phone and, call your kids or call your mom or call whatever. I always thought that was really cool. And every now and then, you'd find people who really went above and beyond. Like, when I first got to Buckingham, they were really liberal about, like, the way your cell was or, like, how you did your floor. And over in the Honor Pod, even more so. Like, they could do whatever they wanted. And there was one guy who would always, like, decorate for Christmas. So he would make, like, what are those things called? Snowflakes out of paper. He would, like, have chains and wreaths across his door and on the outside and on the inside. And, like, we went in there for maintenance one time, and, like, dude's whole cell looks like he would dress it or do a classroom for Christmas or something. Just, like, trees, and it was amazing. And I remember thinking, like, well, where am I? Like, because the rest of the prison, like, nobody's doing this. So there was something really nice, almost kind of like naive about it. Like, hey, we can, pretend for a minute that we're not in here. We can, like, make this a place that we actually feel more comfortable. I always thought that was cool. Thanksgiving was always one of the ones where it was about the food. Like, people talked about their families and missing their families, but really everybody just wanted to get together and eat and, like, watch football or watch TV. And that was a big thing because you would get people in the pods, and, like, when the Thanksgiving game would be on, or, like, the big NBA game or the Super Bowl or something, you'd have a whole pod full of people watching TV. And sometimes people would be in their cells watching their personal TVs, but there was a community. Like, people would come in and they would laugh together and they would argue together, and it was all friendly. Like, it was all good. Whereas, again, any other weekend, a football game or a basketball game is, like, grounds to fight over, or grounds to, like, really get into it over. But on that weekend, it's like, it's friendly. It's more understood. I don't know. And I think about, like, less than a big holiday, but, like, birthdays. I got a birthday card from people every time I was in prison. I'm not even talking about people on the outside, but every year the people around me made me a birthday card. And it might have had, like, rude jokes on there or said something that, was just kind of like more like brotherly bonding, but it meant a lot to me that guys took the time to make me a card and make me a meal and, like, sit down with me and give me a hug or pat me on the back or, like, be a part of my life, because that's really what it was about. It was letting me know that I wasn't alone, me trying to show up to let other people know they weren't alone. And it was also a time that I got introduced to new holidays. Like, I knew Ramadan was officially a holiday, but, like, I had never known a Muslim who celebrated out here in the world. I don't even know if I knew an active practicing Muslim. So to go in and to find that people were, like, practicing Ramadan, it was really, like, one year I participated in the fast. I think I only made it, like, 4 days. But I wasn't doing it for religious reasons. I wanted to see what the experience was. Because for me, people will say, oh, well, this is my religion, this is what I do. Like, I want to understand it. I want to feel it. Like, what does it feel like to go to church? What does it feel like to go to Jumu'ah? What does it feel like to fast? What does it feel like to pray? What does it feel like to meditate? Like, that was the thing I was interested in, because people would always tell me how their religion or their practice, their idea was the best. But, like, no, I want to see it. Like, don't tell me, like, show me. And I thought it was really cool. Like, I actually was really impressed with the idea of Ramadan, with the idea of the fast. And you have it in pretty much all religions, but especially, like, the main 3 religions, where it's about, like, deprivation and recognizing that we have that others don't always. Like, I can fast today because I recognize there are people who are hungry, not out of choice. Like, and I cannot drink water today because I recognize there are people thirsty, not out of choice. And there's something to me very humbling and connecting and powerful about that. So I thought it was a cool experience. But it was really this enlightening thing that, like, even in the worst of places, even in the darkest of times, we could find a way to come together. Like we could find a way to support one another, have one another's back, and like do something good. And I wish we could do that the rest of the year, because like, yeah, we're like making sure dudes get on the phone that can't normally get on the phone, but then they're like getting beat up over the phone a week later. Like, that's not cool. But at the same time, in that moment, it was like, I guess, showing us what was possible. It was bringing out the best in us because we were feeling the worst. And ultimately, I think that's the goal. And like, that's what always drove me crazy about prison, is that it showed how we could all come together. And most of the year, you have guys going at one each other, like creating problems, like fighting over like stupid money or stupid drugs or stupid stuff that didn't matter, rather than coming together and supporting one another. And one day I would hope that whether it's in prison or in the world or in, whatever community, we can come together and support one another rather than fighting, amongst each other. But either way, holidays really showed me the best of what we could be. And that's, I think, what we can aspire to.